Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Now, today we will be playing what appears to be a traditional green Tron list of a threat-heavy variety. However, there are a couple of considerations. The first one is we're running only 17 land instead of 18, which seems a little bit sketchy to me. I sometimes have trouble top-decking the right lands, but the owner of this list that 5-0'd obviously does not. We have a single main deck relic for the dredge matchup, and just as a random cycler, same package of map, star, sphere, stirring, scrying, 2 main deck dismembers, 4 main deck worm coils, 4 main deck Karns, 4 main deck big Karn, 2 Ugin the Spirit Dragon, and 3 Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, along with 3 All Is Dust. This list seems a little bit heavier than I'm used to, but and by heavier, I mean higher up on the CMC. We have a whole lot of stuff we need to assemble Tron to get to. I don't know if 3 All Is Dust is correct, but I haven't played this deck for like a week now. Sideboard, we have a small wish board. We have 2 Pithing Needles, a Coating, Bridge, Trinisphere, Sundering Titan, Ballista, which is about as small of a wish board as you can get. The other 2 Relics and Tormod's Crypt can be brought in as necessary for Grave Hate. We have 2 Thrag Tusks and 3 Nature's Claims for aggro and basically Blood Moon, respectively. But, yeah, I'm just going to take this into a league and we'll see what happens. Alright, we're on the draw for round 1, and this hand is not keepable, so we need to mulligan. We have 2/3 of Tron, but no map, sphere, or star. On the draw, I think this hand is fine. If we get a sphere or a star on our first draw, that gets us to Ancient Stirrings on turn 2, potentially a Sylvan Scrying on turn 2. Opponent leads on Forest, Search for Tomorrow. We draw a map because we're good at top decking. Play Power Plant, play map. Opponent untap, Search for Tomorrow, ticking down. So my opponent is playing a ramp deck, and some kind of red-green ramp deck, so this is probably Valakut. We untap, we get a Sylvan Scrying, play Tower, pass the turn. I hope they're not playing Blood Moon, but if they're Valakut, they're probably not. So, Search for Tomorrow number 1, ticking down. Search for Tomorrow number 2, coming off Suspend. So they cast it. The only reason I haven't cracked my map yet is because if my opponent does play a Blood Moon or something similar, I have to specifically go and get a Forest. Muan Vuli Acid Moss. Main deck. Well, that's just plain rude. So I'm going to get a Forest here, because we're really desperately going to need green mana. And we don't have a lot of basics. That's kind of what we gave up in the particular list that we're playing here. Yeah, we get another Ancient Stirring, so play a Forest. Sylvan Scrying, we'll go get a Mine. Pass the turn. Search for Tomorrow number 2 coming off Suspend. Yeah, that's really rude. I wonder if my opponent is teched against Tron or what the deal is, but the land destruction is just not nice. I don't know what's in the metagame that it's good, though. Like, I mean, if you can cast it and you can cast it on curve without it getting countered, it's fantastic, of course, but like... Opponent bolts our face. If they've got Scape Shift, we're dead. Yeah, they got Scape Shift. Alright, well, we would have had them, I think. Because we would have played Karn last turn. My opponent had 7 lands, so yeah, we would have actually stopped them from comboing off. Yep, that's 6 triggers. I guess Eldrazi Tron is really popular right now, so maybe that makes sense. Okay, let me see what they're playing as additional hate. If I can find their list, which it doesn't look like really exists right now. Like, all of the Scapeshift decks I see reported are like the 5-color Bring to Light Scapeshift. They could be playing Damping Sphere. They might also be playing... What's it called? They could be playing Alpine Moon. They could be playing Dryad and Prismatic Omen. So, like, Nature's Claim has a little bit of game. Life gain matters a little bit. And I think Thrag Tusk is actually better than a Worm Coil. Alright, we'll try and run it back. Well, the good news is we're on the play. If we draw a second land, we get to Sylvan Scrying. This hand is actually not bad. I think I am going to mulligan, though, because we can do better. This is not better. We're going to 5. Alright, well, 2/3 of Tron. I'm going to put back Blast Zone and Thrag Tusk. And we're going to start Power Plant. Really hoping we draw a Sphere, Star, Map, or Mine, of course. Opponent leads on Wooded Foothills and passes. We draw Sanctum. Play Tower, pass the turn. Opponent cracks Wooded Foothills. into a Stomping Ground. Yeah, the only reason I didn't keep the opening hand, really, is because we're playing 17 lands, and the odds of drawing one extra land, just cycling like a single star or sphere, is pretty low. That made me really hesitate. Alright, Opponent plays a second land into a Soccer Tribe Elder. We untap and draw Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Play Sanctum of Ugin. We're looking for Urza's Mine. So hopefully our opponent does not have Monvuli Acid Moss. Opponent plays a Cinderglade. And they got it, because of course they do. This is why I didn't put back the second tower. And they get a Stomping Ground tapped. We untap. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Play Tower. Come on. Come on, mine. Opponent plays a Dryad. Into a Forest. Into a Castle. They have Scape Shift. Alright, yep. We're not beating that. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, well, we have Natural Tron. Well, not Natural Tron, but we have turn 3 Tron into Wormcoil. With Snow-Covered Forest into a 4th Tron land for Ulamog, so I'm going to keep. We are on the draw. Opponent leads on Windswept Teeth. They're playing Luris, so this tells me this is probably Vizier combo. If it is, okay, it's Hardened Scales. Interesting. We draw another Ulamog, play Mine, play Map, pass the turn. Opponent plays an Inkmoth Nexus. Looks like they're thinking about what to do. They play Ravager. Well, that does not bode well for us. We untap, draw Sphere, play Tower, and I'm just going to crack for Power Plant now. Problem is, Wormcoil Engine is not likely to actually protect us from my opponent's deck. They only need to play a couple of artifacts and we lose. Like, if they have a couple of 0 drops, or like an Arcbound Worker, they can make that Nexus big enough to kill us. So opponent plays Llanowar Reborn. Okay, they graft onto Worker, so we are definitely dead next turn. Unless I can somehow deal with that Nexus. And right now I got nothing. If I draw exactly Karn Great Creator or Karn Liberated, I can get somewhere. But it's got to be one of those 2 spells. Opponent attacks us for 2. We take 2 and go to 18. We untap. Actually, Karn Great Creator might not actually... No, it would. It would stop me from dying, but I think it would only buy me actually a turn. So opponent sacks Worker, puts 2 counters on Ravager, puts... So assuming I draw Karn Liberated, opponent sacks Worker, puts 2 counters on Ravager, then 5 more counters, and it becomes a 9/9. They put 4 counters on Ozolith, and then move 5 counters to Ravager, making it a 14/14. And that's if I draw the best card in my deck. If I don't, I lose to Inkmoth. I guess I could draw Dismember, technically, but that doesn't help. I actually don't think that helps all that much. I think my opponent can respond to that if they play correctly. Okay, we drew Karn Liberated. So that's what we got to play this turn. And I'm pretty sure we have to kill Inkmoth Nexus, because down-ticking on anything else, and my opponent just sacks it. And I might have to draw a tower to actually win. If my opponent has Walking Ballista, we lose. Because in addition to just hitting us for 14, then they can play Ballista on 1 and stack it with all the counters. Opponent's deck is a really tough matchup because they are aggro combo, which is not something Tron is well positioned against. And all of their permanents are colorless, with the exception of Hardened Scales. So our traditional board wipes in the form of Ugin and All Is Dust do nothing. If we had Oblivion Stone, it's slightly better, but Oblivion Stone also doesn't do very well against this deck because of the modular triggers. Oblivion Stone does not destroy Blinkmoth or Inkmoth, so they can just like animate a manland and then stack all of their 1/1 counters on it. Hangerback Walker. Oh, we're actually dead. Opponent can make that Ravager way bigger than our life total. All right, we are very dead because they can sack Hangerback and then they can sack each one of the Thopters it makes. So we're bringing in triple Nature's Claim. We're cutting Ugin, All Is Dust, All Is Dust, All Is Dust. Which I guess means I'm bringing in Thragtusk. And I'm bringing in 1 Pithing Needle over the Relic of Progenitus. And we'll try it like this. Alright, we'll play first. Alright, well hopefully this hand does something. We have Chromatic Star and Nature's Claim. But we're probably going to have to use this star to draw with Stirrings to try and get to Tron. Karn is pretty abysmal in this matchup. Big Karn, that is. Little Karn's great. Opponent leads on Welding Jar into the Ozolith. Okay. We untap and draw Mine. That makes me feel better about my life. So I'm going to sack the star for green. We draw Wormcoil. And I'm going to try and claim the Ozolith immediately. Perfect. Players is mine. Pass the turn. I was actually expecting my opponent to not be auto-passing priority and use Welding Jar there, but if we can actually get rid of the Ozolith, that's fantastic. No! Damping Sphere! How dare my opponent. Right as I was about to assemble Tron, too. Pass the turn. You know, for some reason, in my mind, I was super happy because I was living in a world where Damping Sphere didn't exist. I just totally forgot that my opponent would definitely be playing that card in the sideboard. Man, do you guys remember when Damping Sphere getting printed into Modern was like the greatest thing ever? Because it hated on Tron and Storm and kind of brought us all together in a moment of unity, and just, opponent does the same thing that I do, and always forgets that they're playing into their own Damping Sphere. But like, do you remember when Tron and Storm were the decks that needed to be hated out the most? And they printed Damping Sphere and everybody was happy? Those were good times in Modern. We draw Ours is mine. Players is mine. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Bauble. They crack Bauble. But here's where having 17 lands actually really sucks. Because we do not have... maybe I shouldn't have Nature's Claimed so eagerly. But, like, my opponent, on like, their average hand is just so strong against us. Like, any opportunity to interact with them felt, like, correct. Obviously, you know, had I remembered Damping Sphere actually existed, I would have thought to myself, oh, this might not be the thing I need to do. Players is Tower. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Opponent plays Welding Jar number 2. They attack us for 2. We go to 18. And they put Lurrus in their hand, presumably? Yep. Okay. They put Lurrus into their hand. We untap. If we draw a land, we can play Wormcoil. We do not draw land. Pass the turn. 17 land really hurts here. A forest would be ideal, but this opponent plays Lurrus, and then they're going to replay Bauble for 1 mana. Okay, they play Windswept Teeth. They could replay the Ozolith. Okay, they replay the Ozolith. That might actually mean huge issues for us. So they modular onto Ravager. Ozolith gets a counter. Ravager gets a counter for its ability. They move the 1/1 counter to Ravager. We get hit for 4. At least they can't modular over to Lurrus, because modular only works on artifact creatures. Play a forest. Play Wormcoil Engine. Pass the turn. As long as my opponent's last card is not Path to Exile, we might be okay. At least until they find a Hangerback or an Ink Moth or Blink Moth. Opponent replays Worker from the grave, and then plays Giver of Runes. Alright, we untap. We draw Karn, Great Creator, which, not gonna lie, feels like a huge boon. So we can Sylvan Scrying, get a Forest. Actually, get a Blast Zone. Play Blast Zone. Play Great Creator. So whatever they want to put on Ravager, they have to do now. They can make Ravager a 6/6, and then they can give it protection from artifacts and have it kill Karn next turn. Because they can't stack it up large enough to kill us, I don't think. Maybe they can. So if they just sack everything, I think we actually attack with Wormcoil Engine. Okay. So Karn is going to die, no matter what, because they can give Ravager protection from artifacts and then kill Karn, because they can swing past Wormcoil Engine. So we should probably just wish for something to interact with our opponent. I mean, really, it's just like we have Walking Ballista. If I uptick, I can destroy Welding Jar, but that doesn't do all that much. Alright, we're going to downtick. We will use his ability. Do we get Walking Ballista, or do we get Trinisphere? Actually, I could get Pithing Needle here and name Walking Ballista, or name Ravager. Ensnaring Bridge is not that good, because they can make a 1/1 during an inopportune moment where we can't empty our hand, and then just attack and then stack the counters on. I think we get Pithing Needle here. So then we pass. If they want to kill Karn, we're gonna have to make them, basically. So opponent untaps. They draw a card. They play Ink Moth. Okay, they're gonna give Luris protection from artifacts. Or protection from colorless, excuse me. Second Ravager. They move the counter from the Ozolith to Ravager. Then they attack Karn. Alright, we lose Karn. We untap. We draw Power Plant. So, play Power Plant. Play Pithing Needle. I want to name Ravager, but if I do, my opponent can just stack up Ink Moth in response. I actually have to name Ink Moth Nexus here. Opponent modulars onto the other Ravager. Puts a bunch of counters on the Ozolith. Oh, okay, so I see why they did that. They actually did that so that if I name Ravager, they can still just animate and stack counters. So we name Ink Moth Nexus. We're going to tick Blast Zone up to 2, and then we're going to cast Ancient Stirrings. Get a star, I guess. Rest of the bottom, any order. Pass the turn. Oh, you know what? I'm still dead. I'm still dead because my opponent can stack the counters from Ozolith on Ravager. I actually needed to crack Blast Zone on 1, and then play Pithing Needle on Ink Moth to survive. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Their deck is good, and its lines are complicated, and I am but a feeble-minded, basement-dwelling ginger that plays Magic, so... Alright, I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, we're on the draw for round 3, and this hand is not keepable. Neither is this one. I think I gotta keep 5 here. I'm gonna put back Map and Ulamog. We're gonna have to rely on Ancient Stirring's good graces. Alright, my opponent leads on Blackcleave Cliffs, so this could be Jund. Play Power Plant, play Sphere, pass the turn. Opponent cycles a Barrenmoor. Still looking like Jund. Could be just Rakdos. It's Jund. They play Tarmogoyf. We untap and draw Wormcoil Engine. Cycle Sphere for green, cast Ancient Stirrings. Get a tower. Rest of the bottom. Play Tower. Dismember. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. It's going to depend a lot on whether or not my opponent is playing Assassin's Trophy and whether or not they got it. Opponent shocks an Overgrown Tomb. So, Assassin's Trophy, of course. We get a Forest. Untap. We draw Karn Liberated, which is not really what we want to see. Play Sanctum. Play Map. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play Nurturing Peatland into a Renin 6, probably picking up Barrenmoor. Not what I would have done, but okay. They pick up Barrenmoor. So they were really desperate for the cycling. I think I will crack Map now because that gives me some opportunity to draw Karn Great Creator and play him this turn. Okay, we get a Map. Play Mine, play Star, play Map. Pass the turn. So opponent could get us with a double discard effect. They could get us with another Assassin's Trophy. They play Barrenmoor tapped, and then they play Magmatic Channeler. I seriously am questioning my opponent's land sequencing here. It seems pretty poor, but... Cycle Star for green. Activate Map, get Tower. We untap. We draw Blast Zone. So... Play Tower. I have 9 mana, so I can't quite Wormcoil and Karn, which means I should probably Karn Liberated here. Yeah, we'll play Karn Liberated. I am going to sack Sanctum. Opponent just scoops. Okay. I think we bring in Nature's Claim on the off chance of a Damping Sphere. Relic is still somewhat important, but like we have much better cards versus what our opponent is doing. I'm going to cut Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, and you know what? I'm only going to bring in 2 Nature's Claim. We'll try it like this. Alright, Natural Tron, All is Dust. We also have a Star and Stirrings along the way, so I will keep. Okay, opponent leads on Swamp, Inquisition. They can take Star or they can take Stirrings. They take Star. We draw Ugin. Play Mine, pass the turn. Opponent shocks a Stomping Grounds. They play Tarmogoyf. Play Power Plant, pass the turn. Opponent plays Tarmogoyf number 2. Hits us for 2. Did they not see All is Dust? All is Dust. Pass the turn. We just have to dodge a Thoughtseize. Anything else we can handle. Or Fulminator, we have to dodge Fulminator. There's the Thoughtseize. They take Ugin. They play Tarmogoyf number 3. Well, we draw Karn, Great Creator. So play a Forest. Ancient Stirrings. I'll take Ulamog. Rest of the bottom. Play Karn. Go ahead and Wish. Now I could get Coating. Trinisphere would be okay. I actually think I'm just going to get and play Relic here. Because there's some chance my opponent can't dump the 2 cards left in their hand. And we draw another tower. So we have Ulamog next turn. Opponent plays Sarulf the Realm Eater. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it has 1 or more 1/1 counters on it. Alright. We untap. We draw Karn. Play Tower. Play Ulamog. Let's go ahead and exile our opponent's mana. Ancient Stirrings. Get another All Is Dust. Rest of the bottom. Upset Karn. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Swamp. And they scoop. Alright. Well, that was probably our best matchup so far. So I'll see you guys in round 4. Alright, on the draw for round 4. Not having much luck for being on the play, I think, this tournament. We're going to mulligan. This hand might work, but I'm going to try for 5. Should have kept the 6. I'm on a 4. Alright. We'll keep. Put back All Is Dust, Ulamog, and Sylvan Scrying. Opponent leads on Mountain into a Bombat Courier, which this is probably one of the worst hands I could have against aggro, let alone mono red. They hit us for 1, we go to 19. We untap, we draw Karn Liberated, play Tower, play Map. My only hope is to draw Mine or Power Plant, really. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Bloodstained Mire. They crack Bloodstained Mire. They get a Blood Crypt. And they play a Kroxa. So we have to discard Chromatic Star. Opponent attacks us for 1. We go to 18. Untap. We draw Mine. Play Mine. Map for Power Plant. So the only way this goes wrong now is if my opponent has Thoughtseize, what is that? Burning Inquiry. I was going to say draw 3, discard 3 at random. Okay. Opponent hits us for 1, we go to 17. They put Lurrus in their hand. We untap. We draw Urza's Mine. Play Power Plant. Play Karn Liberated. Down-ticking means we lose Karn like 100%. Up-ticking is not great either, because my opponent's about to ditch their whole hand. But up-ticking at least means we might get a better opportunity target for Karn. Opponent discards Fatal Push. They untap. We really need to top deck like Ulamog or Great Creator. Opponent goes to combat. They attack Karn Liberated for 1. They exile another card. They crack Bloodstained Mire. They get an untapped Blood Crypt. They play Death Shadow. Play Death Shadow. Well, now we need to get Blast Zone. Wormcoil Engine is not bad. Downtick on Bombat Courier. We're going to force them to sack it. So they ditch Lurrus. We at least don't have to worry about that or Battle Rage. But my opponent now has 4 cards. Play Wormcoil. Pass the turn. Hopefully we can keep Karn alive. We have enough mana to play basically anything we could draw. Expedition Map would be an okay draw because of Blast Zone. Opponent leads on Bauble. Cracks Bauble. They could replay Kroxa this turn. That wouldn't be terrible. They play Sunbaked Canyon. They cycle it 2. And they scoop. They can't beat Karn plus Wormcoil. Alright. So we're bringing in Thragtusk. I might want the Grave Hate here. I'm going to cut 1 Wormcoil because I don't mind having to get it out of the sideboard with Karn Great Creator. I am going to cut the other Ulamog, though, because 11 mana is a lot. And I think I'm just going to run it back like this. I don't know that I need Grave Hate here. It's probably a good idea if my opponent's playing Kroxa and Lurrus, but we'll just try it like this. Alright, we are on the draw, and we have 2/3 of Tron plus a bunch of payoffs and a Dismember. So I think I'm going to keep... I don't know what I want to use Dismember on, but we have to be careful because of Scourge of the Skyclaves. Opponent leads on Swift Spear. They hit us for 1. We are still going to lead on Chromatic Sphere. We draw All Is Dust. Yeah, we should have some game versus our opponent because we are maxed out on like All Is Dusts and Ugins. So we have board wipes that are very powerful versus our opponent's particular strategy. I think I messed up because my opponent did not reveal Luris, which means they're playing Blood Moon. Okay, we get Thought Seized. If I were my opponent and I saw this hand, I'd take Karn Great Creator, especially if I was playing Blood Moon. I think taking anything else would be a mistake. Okay, they took Karn Great Creator. They hit us for 2. Then they play Death Shadow. We untap. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Sack Star for green. Play Tower. Scrying. Get Urza's Mine. Pass the turn and hope they don't have Blood Moon and hope we're not dead. We can recover from them putting just about anything on board by casting All Is Dust. Unless, of course, it's Blood Moon. It's Blood Moon. There's no reason for them to fetch a basic swamp other than Blood Moon. Yeah. Okay, well, we're taking 4. And I did not bring in Nature's Claim. Pretty sure I should have known to do that, too. Players is mine. I am going to dismember the Shadow. It's very painful. But my opponent would have to have nothing but lands for the rest of the game, and we would have to draw multiple lands in a row to get out of this. And it is very clear that that is not what is going to happen here. Okay. Opponent hits us for 4, down to 2. Karn Great Creator, but we're dead on board. Alright. So, cut Relic, cut another Worm Coil, bring in Nature's Claim, and I'll cut 1 Karn Liberated for a Nature's Claim. We'll try it like this. I would like to play first. This hand I can't keep. This is tempting because I actually have green mana. I have 2/3 of Tron approximately, and I have a Blast Zone. I'm going to put back the Blast Zone. So, lead on Urza's Mine, play Expedition Map. Next turn we'll be casting Sylvan Scrying. If we get Thought Seized, my opponent will probably take Sylvan Scrying, but they could take Worm Coil. Opponent leads on Bloodstained Mire, into a Blood Crypt untapped, into a Thought Seize. Well, let's see what they take. They take Ancient Stirrings. Alright. That tells me they probably have Blood Moon. So, Sylvan Scrying, we'll go get a Power Plant. Pass the turn. They play Sunbaked Canyon. Double red. They have Cleansing Wildfire. Cleansing Wildfire is so good against us because we only have 3 basics. So we draw Nature's Claim. Play Power Plant, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play Polluted Delta. They crack Polluted Delta. They get a basic Swamp. And they're passing. Interesting. Crack Expedition Map. Get a Tower. Untap. We draw Expedition Map. Play Tower. Play Expedition Map. So now we have Claim plus Activate to get Tron. If we can resolve an Ugin, it's probably game over unless they have Dreadbore. On a cycle Sunbaked Canyon, so apparently they were just like pump faking that they had Blood Moon. I'm not really sure about that. They play Verdant Catacombs, they crack Verdant Catacombs. They get a basic Swamp. Now they're going to play Blood Moon. So let's go ahead. We'll go get Urza's Mine. Blood Moon resolves. Nature's Claim the Blood Moon. Then we untap. We draw another land. So we play Ugin this turn, because next turn we can play a land and play Worm Coil. So play Ugin, and they don't have an answer for Ugin. Nice. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 5. Alright, and we're on the play for round 5. This hand is not keepable, though. This works. It's not the greatest hand in the universe, but it's pretty close. Play Power Plant, play Map. Pass the turn. Opponent leads on Misty Rainforest, cracks, gets a basic Island and a Serum Visions. Alright. We untap, we draw Power Plant, play Tower, pass the turn. This could be Storm, so I'm going to leave up Dismember. Opponent plays a Steam Vents. Okay, this might just be Through the Breach. So go get Urza's Mine, untap, we draw Forest, play Urza's Mine, play Karn. Opponent remands Karn. Alright, still could be Through the Breach, still could be Storm. I think it's more likely that it's Through the Breach than Storm. Okay, opponent casts Serum Visions. They play a Scalding Tarn. We untap. We draw another map. Play Power Plant. I'm trying to play around Logic Knot this way. Okay. Go ahead and Wish. It's kind of a tough call on what to get here. I think we have to go for Coding, even though it's pretty likely my opponent has a Lightning Bolt to kill Karn. Sundering Titan will never resolve, so play Liquid Metal Coating. Play map. Crack map for tower. Okay. Put a crack Scalding Tarn. They get a Stomping Ground. Okay. So it's possible that this isn't through the breach. They play Ice Fang. They draw a card. Stop them on their upkeep. Shut off the green mana. Opponent draws. So the reason that I shut off the green mana as opposed to doing anything else was there is an opportunity for my opponent to have had Lightning Bolt plus Archmage's Charm. And by shutting off the green mana, they had to use their blue-red mana, like that sort of a thing. Not sure how likely that is, but it's non-zero, I think. So I could wish for Sundering Titan right now, and that would work as long as my opponent doesn't have a remand. So, I think the better play is to plus here. We're going to try for the plus. If they have a Lightning Bolt, we're screwed. I'm doing this before I do anything else, because I want to cast Ancient Stirrings next. So opponent floats mana, blow up Steam Vents. Okay. Pass to our second main. Okay, opponent flashes in Snapcaster Mage. That is important. So now we need to Ancient Stirrings and hopefully hit another threat we can play. Ideally, it is, I think, a Wormcoil Engine, because there's no way my opponent has to bounce that Wormcoil until they have, like, Cryptic. So play a Forest, Ancient Stirrings. Could get another Karn Great Creator, but we'll take Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, and then pass the turn. Alright, game's over. Fantastic. So opponent looks just like Teamer Control, or maybe Teamer Midrange. I'm scared of Damping Sphere, so in come the Nature's Claims. I'll cut one All Is Dust. It's not bad in this matchup, per se, but it might be difficult to get to resolve. And I'll cut one Wormcoil Engine so I can wish for it if I need to. Alright, I'm gonna mulligan. If that had 2 land, I'd keep it. This hand works, so I'll put back a star. Opponent mulliganed to 5. Oh, we drew Tron. So play mine, play star. This means I could Sylvan Scrying for Blast Zone. Opponent shocks Breeding Pool, passes. We draw a tower. Cycle star for green. We get Ulamog. Play Power Plant. Scrying. This might get remanded. We play Ice Fang Quaddle. Okay. They're going to play Force Pitching Cryptic. Well, unluckily for our opponent, we do not need that Scrying to assemble Tron. And right now we're looking at a turn 5 Ulamog the Infinite Gyre. We untap and draw Karn Great Creator. Play Karn. Wish. Get Coding. Play Coding. Okay, opponent does not have another counterspell. Stop on their upkeep. Shut off the green mana. Opponent draws and plays an island. Hits Karn for 1. They could have Cryptic here. We draw Karn Liberated. Shut off Breeding Pool. Blow up Breeding Pool. Play a tower to play around Mana Leak. Play Karn. Nuke a land. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They would have to have, like, red land, bolt. Yeah. Alright, we ended up 3-2-ing, which, after how that league started, I did not anticipate a good result. Let's go ahead and open our treasure chest. 45 play points and a Tireless Tracker. Tireless Tracker, currently worth 2.5 tickets. Not bad. So let's talk about this Tron list a little bit, because it is a little bit unique. I think having access to all of the board wipe effects is interesting, but I don't think I would play 3 All Is Dust, 2 Ugin, and an Ulamog the Infinite Gyre in the main deck unless I absolutely needed that to win every single match in the metagame, and I don't think that's the case. I think that playing 3 All Is Dust before you play a 4th Forest to make 18 land is very incorrect. Now, the list is powerful, just because it is like a threat-heavy Tron list. It's not that far off of what I would play. Really, I would say -1 All Is Dust, +1 Forest, and instead of Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, I would play Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. If I was going to main deck another Eldrazi besides Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, I would not play Ulamog the Infinite Gyre. And that last game kind of shows you why, because we could have played Ceaseless Hunger, or we could have played Kozilek that turn, but we couldn't because we had Infinite Gyre. And Infinite Gyre is 11 mana, and 10 versus 11 in Tron is a big jump. Sideboard felt fine, didn't really miss anything. I would say drop a relic for a Grafdigger's Cage, because there are some circumstances under which a Grafdigger's Cage is necessary to actually make you survive. So yeah, -1 All Dust, +1 Forest, minus Ulamog, either third Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, or a Kozilek, -1 Relic out of the side, +1 Grafdigger's Cage. That would be the list I would play right now. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few times have been earlier than that. And yeah, felt good to play Tron. I don't think it's that great in the current metagame. I have no idea how Modern Horizons 2 is going to change it, so if you like it, play it while you can, because who knows, maybe Mono Black Cabal Coffers is the next Karn Liberated deck. Anyway, who knows? So, you're all wonderful human beings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of May. If you want to support my channel directly and have your name show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon in the description down below. Thank you all.